Hey there, and welcome to Conversations Worth Your While. It's the podcast where we dig into ideas and insights that will help you to unleash what you were born to bring. I chat with heart-led experts and I ask the questions that I know you're already thinking about, and we will explore conversations that will spark growth, that will shift your perspective and help you to show up fully in your life. And today we are going to be exploring how to create the right business relationships. And this conversation is worth your while because the people you surround yourself with can open doors, spark opportunities, and help your business grow in ways you could never accomplish alone. The right relationships don't just increase your income, they expand your impact. And the sooner you start building them, the sooner you create opportunities that might not be there tomorrow. So I am your host, Linda Bucher, and if the life you're in no longer fits, this space is for you. Because through coaching and through my podcast, I guide purpose-driven people to reconnect to who they really are, to let go of what they've outgrown, to rediscover their gifts and create a life that feels aligned and deeply impactful. And if that sparks something within you, you can find me at lindabucher.com. Okay, once again, today we're talking about how to create the right business relationships. And I have the pleasure of being joined by my friend, Steve Ramona. He is a human connector, leaving a legacy of impact as he spreads how doing business with a servant's heart will change the world. So, Steve, thanks so much for being with me today.
Thank you so much for having me. I am fired up.
Me too. Awesome. Okay, can you tell us a little bit more about what you do and who you serve as a human connector?
I love making relationships and connections. And it's the value of uplifting people and bringing them something they didn't have before, finding what their pain point is, and giving them resources at no cost.
I know.
How about that? Free.
Free. I love that. Like I said when we got on the line earlier, I said you are such a wonderful connector and you are ridiculously generous. I've learned from you. I've met dozens of people through you, and not just met, had them be podcast guests, or connected with them on other levels. I mean, this service that you provide is just so I mean, you're doing business with the servant's heart. That's your tagline and the name of your
Yes.
podcast. And it's amazing. And I'm grateful to have met you and for all the people you've connected me with. So yeah. Okay, so we're talking about creating the right business relationships. I like to start out maybe talking, maybe sharing a few stories about how hard it is to do business, especially like I'm a solopreneur. And there's a ton of hats to wear. And the sales hat doesn't fit me very well. It doesn't feel good. For a lot of people, they have trouble doing what assume they're supposed to be doing, selling their services, selling what they're creating in the world. And it gets really hard to do it all, doesn't it?
It does. And keep in mind, audience, you're selling every day. I had to sell you to be on my podcast. It wasn't a hard sell. I mean, we connected, we have aligned energies, but that's one thing that we forget that we're selling every day. Our spouse, our family, our friends, the person at the grocery store, we're selling something. So keep that in mind. That made it much easier for me. No, that's a part of your life. But Linda, here's the key. People forget this. They talk about HR, they talk about sales, talk about marketing, they talk about culture, all great stuff. And I've had a lot of those people on my podcast, but we forget about the people part of the business. Financially, an asset, I've got $1 million. It goes to 1,100,000 this year. My asset grew. Super simple math, grew 100,000. Well, why are we doing that with people?
Mm.
Have people become your asset. And we're going to talk more about that because that's something I talk to people all the time about. And it just the light bulb moment goes on. I didn't think about that.
Right. People are really, instead, they're worried about, am I posting enough on social media? Do I have the right landing pages on my website? Um, what else? Do I have to pay for ads on Facebook or on YouTube? They're worried about being out there and being visible and trying to get out there because they think that's the way that sales are going to come. In my experience, and I've been a coach for 17 years and a podcaster is my fourth year as a podcaster. In my experience, I have never, ever, ever received a paying client who wanted my services through social media or an ad that I placed. 100% have been through business relationships and not even personal relationships because people who want to unleash what they were born to bring aren't necessarily, in the room all the time, like at family parties. They're not, there's only a few of us, a smaller percentage that feel
Yeah.
that we were put here to do something really big and we're ready for it. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, I get 3 to 5 referrals daily.
Wow.
Podcast for my business. I've grown a multi-million-dollar business doing all this. That's why I know it works. Now, all the stuff we talked, we both agree that's important for your business. But if you're listening out there and you're starting out or you're struggling in business, meet new people. Meet people that you've met months ago. I mentor a lot of entrepreneurs. I tell them, go back 6 months, go back to those meetings that you met people that were good meetings. Don't do the meetings where you didn't connect. You don't need to do that.
Right.
Or also go through your contact list, Linda.
Hmm.
And I did that. I went through my contact list. I had 3,500 subscribers to my newsletter in a 1 week. Think about that. Talk about a people asset. I still have 3,400 or so to this day, 2 years later, because people became my asset,
Hmm.
my brand, my marketing, all that stuff tied to it. And Linda, you call clients, what are they? People.
People. Yeah.
We use clients, customers, patients, great labels, because that's ties to what you do. But the most important thing is that people asset. What are you doing to build your asset? And here's a tip for all of you. Take and run with this. Meet 10 new people every week.
Mm.
And a quick story. I did this January of 2020. I was a part owner of a digital business card company. I went out and I went to 15 networking groups a week, 15 hours. By 9 weeks, I had met 500 new people. I was the top sales guy in the company. And the owners are like, what the hell did you do? I met people who gave me referrals, became my asset.
Right, right. And so referrals is really huge because we're humans and we need to have that know, like, and trust factor before we spend our money. I mean, that's just how it is. We don't just spend willy-nilly. So the know, like, and trust. And that's not going to come through a social media post so much. It's going to come from that human connection of having a conversation with someone. And the person you're conversating with is not the person you're going to be selling to. They become part of your sales force, don't they? They become like someone who like knows you, understands, and gets you. And then at some future date, you don't know when that'll be, they will connect you because you made an impact with them. They will remember you, especially if you nurture that relationship. So it's not just like a one and done, like, oh, thanks for meeting me. Who can you connect me with? That feels a little too, I don't know, just like
Uncomfortable.
I'm using you, to get to the
Yeah,
next
it's
person,
uncomfortable.
right?
Yeah.
Right. And so, but let's talk about how now, because it's not just about I meet you for the first time. Let me tell you all about me, Steve. That's not how you make this human connection, is it?
No, and the know, like, and trust is so important. And here's a quick imagery for you audience to think about. Faith or not, Jesus Christ had 12 disciples. His message went out to millions and millions of people, still going out today. The good side of this. The bad side is Hitler. He had 20 generals who got his message out to millions of people in Germany. It was not good, obviously. But those are two examples of what I do and I mentor people to do. Find those ambassadors,
Mm,
those disciples, whatever word you want to use, they're going to spread your message. I have 10,000.
mm,
Imagine you had 10,000 people spreading your message. That's why I get so many referrals. The greatest way to do this is build a relationship. How do you build trust? You ask. I call it my ASLA principle. You ask, you shut up, you listen, and you ask. Now, the shut up is, people smile and laugh like you do, and I smile when I say it. They go, why that? Bridge between shut up and listen. Think about a Zoom room you've been in or a room with a bunch of windows, and some of the windows are black. They may have gone to the bathroom, get a drink. I'm not judging here, but are they listening to what the speaker's saying? No, because they're not there. That's why the shut up and listen is important. You do that, and then that ask at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Don't go, hey, what's your challenges in your business, Tony? Oh, I need more people. Well, Tony, I've got a program. It's 10,000 a year. Here's where you sign up. I'll get you more people. Ask another question. So what have you tried to get more people? What have you tried to build your HR department? What have you tried in marketing? Whatever it may be. You'll get to learn people what their pain point is. Very important in sales. But you're going to build trust. Why do you think, Linda?
Because you're listening enough to know to ask a question based on what they already just shared from your last question.
You and the other part I add to it is because you show you care.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah.
And then as you do that, you're going to bring, and you thank you for the wonderful words about generosity. I'm generous. I am, because I know it helps people. And of course, it helps me too. That's when you start asking these questions, you realize, oh, Linda's looking for more podcast shows. Hey, I've got two guests I'm going to introduce. I've done that. Introduce you guests, you've been on shows. Because I asked, shut up, listen, and asked. And in my head, I got this superpower. I know right away, okay, Rick and Chris, okay, Greg. I know which shows would be a good fit.
Right.
You can't serve unless you ask questions and listen.
Oh, I love that. I'm going to say that again. You can't serve unless you ask questions and listen. So it's really comes down to be interested. Be interested. Learn about that other person. And and as you're asking the right questions, you are building know, like, and trust, even if you haven't shared anything about yourself yet.
I do it all the time. I did it yesterday with two guys. They've sent me emails. It's the best me I've ever had. Young guys, because I did that. Here's the other thing that's a great tip, audience. I'm going to give you a ton of tips. Hope you got a pen and paper. Don't ask when somebody jumps on your meeting, wherever it's in person, online, wherever. We always go, hey, how you doing today? What I like to ask is, hey, share some wins you've had, Linda, in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
What challenge did you overcome? Find a question, because how you doing today? Everybody's heard that. We get, oh, I'm incredible. And that's not a bad thing, but being unique and different,
Mm-hmm.
you're memorable.
Right. Right. That's another really great tip is what can you do to be memorable? How can you show up in a way that makes you memorable?
Absolutely. It's powerful.
It is. And one of the most important ways really is to just be yourself. You got to be careful not to try to be someone you're not. Showing up in your own unique glory. That's the way to show up
Yeah.
on all your calls. You
Yep.
know, yeah,
And
for
I can't do introductions all the time, Linda. I don't have people in my network that do that. And I've had stuff I've asked for that people say, oh, I don't know anybody. That's fine. If you do run into somebody, let me know. You've got to break that barrier of stress.
Mhm.
And here's another great tip for sales. And I love sharing this. So I have a coaching program. I go to you, Linda. Hey, it's $10,000. You go, Linda or Steve, I'm not ready yet. It's not much, or whatever that person you say. Well, that's uncomfortable. I've asked that question. A lot of people, that's why they don't do sales, because they don't ask for people become a client. It's
Right.
uncomfortable for you because you got to say no to me. I've been nice to you. I've helped you. I might have a program that's good. Here's what you do. This is a game changer. When you say, I'm just not ready, can't afford it, whatever, I say, well, Linda, during our conversation, you mentioned this. Here's a resource or tip I've used that can help double your income. Generosity. I'm going to keep using your word.
Right.
I've had people do that, and people came back months later to become their client because memorable,
Yes.
not
And
pitching.
right. Memorable and generous. I had the same thing happen. I remember this is my first ambassador came to me. Um, I offer this free 30-minute chat. And, I was very generous. I listened, I heard what was going on, and I was very generous with him. And then he sent an email back about a month later saying, that was really enlightening. Thank you so much. And then I was generous again and gave him more. Right. And then about 4 months later, he came back to me, says, I'm ready to work together. We worked together for probably only 3 months, I'm going to say. He has since sent me 12, more than 12, but 12 actual paying people who became clients of mine. He is an ambassador. But here's what's really interesting. I asked him, I go, so, well, what do you tell people about me? And he says, oh, I don't tell them anything about you. I'm like, really? What do you do? He said, I make genuine connections with humans. Okay. He said, and when they go, I want some of what you got. How are you this, light, free, successful? Like he's just blossomed in amazing ways, personally and successfully in his business and etc. And he said, well, if you're open to trying something you haven't been open to or you haven't tried before, I'd like to introduce you to someone, to my coach. And they'll be like, well, if it's going to get me where you are, yeah. So then he will buy them a session with me. So,
Wow.
right? That talk about, that's the whole know, like, trust, try, buy again, recommend. He went one more, buy a session for somebody else, pay it
Yep.
forward. And,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
It's a
so
great story.
yeah, so it's really because I just created that relationship with him. He's a relationship guy, naturally. He learned to trust me, saw my generosity. And then when he was ready, he's like, let's do it. And then he got so much out of it, he's excited to share, right? He's excited to like, let me pay this forward. There's more people in the world that have to get their good stuff out in the world. I know the person who can help.
Yeah, and I had met a guy yesterday. He told me I get people open up to me because of everything I'm doing. I've just told you all. It's a great way for people because that when people open up, because I've seen you do it, it's just magical. But he said, Steve, my problem is I'm stalemated. I'm stale. I'm not growing. He says, I get people say no, and what do I do? I said, next. He goes, I said, in my head, Joe Smith says no, he's not part of my program. Next,
Yeah.
there's 365 million people in America, 3.5 billion in the world. I don't know if those numbers are correct, but think about that. Let's say there's 200 million adults. You got 0.001% of that. I think it's 1,000 people. And correct me, audience, you can send me an email if I'm wrong, but it's a large number of people. It's
Hmm.
a small portion. And some people with 10 or 12 clients a year, they're happy.
Hmm.
So really, really just go next. Don't tie into the outcome of the introduction or the sales call.
Right.
What you do next.
Yeah, exactly. Don't make it mean something that it doesn't mean, like that you didn't do it right, you don't have the right pricing, you didn't whatever. I always say there's a coach for everyone.
Yeah.
And if I'm not the one meant for you, that's okay. And also I've had no's where people said, you've been so generous, thank you so much. I just cannot afford it. Like I had a person saying, I'm living in my car. And I was super just as generous. Like I knew I could see that, and they told me that. I still gave them the full
Wow.
everything that I would give them in that session. And they said, but I really want to work with you. And 6 months later, she emailed me. She goes, I'm ready. I have an apartment. I have a job. I'm ready to go. So they remember you. The
Yep.
sales cycle for a coach is long. It can be long because people need to be ready and I can't make them ready. That's not within my power. That's an inner switch that has to flip when you are all done being where you are. When you're like, that's it, I've had enough. It happens like this, at some point, even though it's
Yeah.
been building there. And once they're ready, right? But we can't make other people ready. We can
Nope.
say, I'll be here when you're ready. It's okay. I'll be here when you're ready. I'm not going anywhere. And that builds trust as well.
My business partner uses a phrase, Steve, we're not doing religious conversions here. It's not it. And price point too, if you're in a 10, 15, 20, 25,000, 100,000, I've interviewed people that do charge 120,000 a year. Well, that's going to make your niche small too. And not
Yeah.
everybody can afford that, and qualifying people before you come on. And if you qualify people before you come on. Even if you come on with them, still serve them. This freemium slash generosity has blown up everything in my life for the last 5 years. And
Mhm.
it's a lot of fun, Linda. It's love hearing the response at the end. What a great meeting. Thank you. Because we jump into meetings, there's a little, little stress, little, what's this going to turn out? We're just human.
Mhm.
We can remove a lot of that with that mindset of just how can we help each other and do it.
Right.
It's gold.
Yeah. And our follow-ups, just give in the follow-ups. Don't ask for their business necessarily. They may have already asked, like I have people say, well, can you tell me about your coaching program? If they ask me, I will tell them. And I'll say, you don't need to make a decision today. It's fine. I don't do that high pressure sales. If you have any questions, let me know. But then when I follow up with something else. Hey, I have a resource that I think might be really helpful. I know you do the same, Steve. And it's keeping you connected in a generous way that isn't like I'm just doing a sales pitch every time I reach out to you. And I think I've heard that it takes on average 6 or 7 touches
Yeah.
before someone's like, okay, I'm ready to take that step. And one of the reasons is because when someone sees you as a solution, all of a sudden their perception of risk skyrockets. Because if you're not the solution, they don't have to part with any dollars. They don't have to go out on a limb like as a coach, to work with a coach to go on the inner self journey to find where all the answers are, because that's scary. So if they're like, I'm just looking, there's no risk. As soon as they go, ooh, this is the person who's probably going to help me, they get excited, but then they get scared because risk just goes way up. So we have to be aware of what's happening psychologically during this sales cycle as well.
Yeah. And I can help a lot. Here's another great tip. Because the ask is important. That's why the ask at the end of ASLA is important. Even asking a potential client through this person, I call it referring through people. So I'm in a conversation and brought a bunch of, like yesterday, 2 guys were like, oh my God, this is great. They didn't ask me, or they asked me, how can I help you? I said, hey, Ben, I'm looking for this, this, and this. If you know anybody in your network, I'd love an introduction.
Hmm.
I've had many people do this and double their income in months because the first thing that happen, possible thing that happens, what do you do? FOMO. I might be interested. Boom. You can tell them what you do. You don't still pitch them, but like I've had people on the first day buy from me and I made a sale because I did exactly this. And it's not going to happen. I didn't pitch them. Hey, I do this. I heard you say this is what I do. Hey, I'd love to be your client or however they say it. So that's one thing. 2, they're going to give you referrals
Hmm.
if they have them. 3, they're going to ghost you. They're going to go, I'm looking for landowners. That's about 5% of the world have land that I can connect with. And most people, I don't know any landowners. That's fine. If you do random one, let me know. And once in a while, I'll get an email. Hey, I just ran into Joe Smith because let's go back. I made him memorable. I lifted him. I impacted them. They go, I just met this guy. You need to meet him. He's got land. I'm going to make millions of dollars on a referral just following that scenario.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so let's recap how to create the right business relationships, what makes them right, and how to do it. Just see if you can just recap it. Bam, bam, bam.
Mindset of building a relationship by impacting people, everybody you meet in your meetings, your church, your grocery store. Here's a real quick say somebody's name. When you go to a grocery store or somebody with a name tag, hey, Tony, thank you for bagging my groceries. Tony, have a great day. Say their name twice. Game changer for the universe. I'm a faith guy. God will reward you. He's rewarded me and rewarded many other people who have done that. Ask the principle. Ask, shut up, listen, and ask. During the conversation, how do you build rapport? You do that by asking questions. And then you become generous.
Mhm.
Well, here's a couple things for you. Here's a tip for you. Here's an app. Here's an introduction that I think will help you grow, help you with your business. And then at the end is they go, how can I help you? Well, you refer through them.
Right.
You
Beautiful.
do all that, you're going to grow.
Absolutely. Beautiful. And remember, we need to grow because we're here to make an impact in the world. And if
Mhm.
you're hiding and you're not helping in the way you're meant to be helping, then you're not doing the thing that the universe entrusted you to do while you're here. So this has been a beautiful conversation. Is there like one small thing? Because I know people listen to podcasts and either going to hopefully go on to one of my next episodes or one of yours on doing business with a servant's heart podcast. But before they hit play, what's something someone can do in 5 or 10 minutes today to start creating the right business relationships?
1% every day by connecting with at least one person. Send an email, send a text, go back to the calendar, like I mentioned, go on your contact list, just connect with somebody
Yeah.
and make it memorable.
Yeah, and make it memorable. I love that. So if there's a follow-up you've been meaning to do it in a generous way. And just make sure you do one every day. I think that's beautiful. That's 5 follow-ups, you might not have made. I know that's kind of a lot of times that's where people fall off. We get busy doing the next thing and we don't do the follow-up. So yeah. Beautiful. Well, thank you so much. You've been such a great guest, and this has been a really great conversation, Steve. Is there anything that you have to share with our audience if they want a little bit more of what Steve brings?
Yeah, I've launched a free business community. We'll get the link. It's school, SKOOL.com, the business network. And I teach these lessons, these ways to connect, the ways to grow. I impact and I give, by the way, I give $100 away every month for the most engaged person in my community. I just gave a young lady $100 yesterday for being engaged because that's the power of what we do is engaging. So I actually reward people.
Oh, that's super fun. Awesome. I will put the link to that business community into the show notes. So thank you so much. Alrighty. Well, that's our show. I'm Linda Bucher, guiding people to know their worth, to reconnect to their gifts, and create lives that are fully aligned and deeply impactful. And if you're sensing it's time to bring your life into deeper alignment, you can explore what that looks like at lindabucher.com. If today's episode sparks something for you, please like it and don't forget to share it with someone who might need it. And then subscribe so you don't miss what's next. And then join me next week for another uplifting, expansive conversation designed to support your growth. And until next time, make sure that you've made this conversation worth your while by fueling the spark that it ignited.